Good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to PWR Weekly. I'm the man they call Meathead, joined by the lovely Linda Kay and Matthew Thomas. How are Linda, Matthew, and the Meathead handling a very cool and crisp Packer victory Monday? Linda.
I am still rejoicing. Is that the right word? I can never think of the right words when it's, these
I would say
mornings. I
rejoice.
can't. Yes. What a victory. Well needed. It is funny that it's like, woohoo, Packers did a win and, where you jump for joy, but that is huge.
What was that post that was going around, Linda, that said before yesterday the Brewers had more wins in October than the Packers did?
Oh, my goodness. I didn't see that one, but hey, they flipped it around and hopefully it's a good sign of good things to come.
Matthew, Denver Broncos, are they doing anything?
You Wisconsin people and your football team.
Matthew, Denver?
Trying to, disperse that money that we spent on a given quarterback last year.
He is a Wisconsin. By the way, sad news, Linda. I don't know if you heard Brent Moss. Yeah, having passed. Brent Moss was really the running back that started it all off for the Badgers when they resurged and became the powerhouse that they are, except for this year, of course. Let's talk a little bit about the sponsors first. Matthew Thomas, who are we all wearing? Technically, it looks like you got a Waukesha t-shirt on there, Matthew, but what are we wearing? Who are we sponsored by, Matthew Thomas?
Well, you two are really just showcasing the various styles of the Collar and Elbow brand, available exclusively at Collar and Elbow.
Put them on the glass.
Brand.com. I believe you two are sporting the Collar and Elbow brand mirror. Hoodie and t-shirt, one of their wonderful styles available at collarandelbowbrand.com. If you'd like to save 10% off of your order, your first order, second order, 14th order, doesn't matter. Enter promo code Linda, KLINDAKAY at checkout, and you can match like most of us.
I was going to say, you got Waukesha Strong on, don't you?
Yeah.
Is that what you're wearing, Matthew?
Kind of in the game.
Yeah, make sure you wear that. Matthew, are you making it to Blizzard Brawl this year?
We're still working on some deals.
Still working on playing, yeah.
Trains and some subways.
Scooters.
Hey, planes, trains, automobiles, scooters, segways, Ubers.
And this,
Linda,
this will get me a ways too.
Oh,
Linda,
yeah,
if he gets into any trouble, who could he reach out to for a little protection?
That would be ProWrestlingInsurance.com. It is open enrollment. While this is something you could add in as a supplemental coverage as low as $9 a month. You can do that any time of year, but very importantly right now is open enrollment. So if you want to make sure you're covered in all different realms, 24/7, affordable rates for this supplemental plan as well. Again, as low as $9 a month. Make sure to go over to ProWrestlingInsurance.com or at ProWrestlingInsurance on the socials and speak with our friend Chris. He can help get you set up so you can have that ease of mind this time of year and all year round. ProWrestlingInsurance.com.
Absolutely. Hey, we're going to go back a week and we're going to talk about something we didn't get to last week on Monday's show. And it's the PWR Fantasy Draft. Ladies and gentlemen, the points are in from Crown Jewel. They are official. Leading the PWR Fantasy Draft. Make a big smile. Here comes it. I see it. She's getting that big smile. The leader, Team Long Time, 2,755 points. Right behind her at 2,640. Not you, Matthew. It's the man they call Meathead with Team Meatheads. And I was going to say, yeah, Matthew's right behind me, and I think he's breathing on me like creepy Uncle Joe Biden at 2,275 points. That is after Crown Jewel. Your guys' thoughts on the points that we scored throughout that weekend?
So this is all the precinct reporting, correct? Are you sure? Like absolutely
100%. So every precinct is reported. All ballots are in. The losers of the matches have conceded, and they have moved on. Matthew, this is where you talk.
Yeah, the thing of it is, like, I'm closing in every pay-per-view that gets closer. I'm just. Yeah,
I don't know if I like you behind me. Honestly,
the thing is, what I've really done, I've set an example for just, how you manage a team, and the fact that, a lot of my people that I drafted early on, I haven't turned my back on just because they got hurt. I haven't cut them, and that's ultimately going to pay off for me in the end. I'm going to show that
you drafted the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, you can do it the right way and stay true, to your team, regardless of what they tear here and there. And ultimately going to come out victorious. And I was thinking about it the other day, like, what would the the namesake of this team, huh? What would he do if I had just cut Cody Rhodes when he got hurt? No. He would be so upset if I had just thrown Cody Rhodes to the wood pile.
Because your team name is Matt Damien, Team Matt Damien, right?
Nelson Mandela, that's right.
Nelson Mandela, that's right.
A man that I've actually pumped gas with, I can't turn my back on.
I don't ever want to hear you say Damien and pumping ever again. Ever again.
Cody, I pumped gas with Cody.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe I'm trying to think. I don't know that I pumped gas with Damien.
Well, if you've been in New Jersey, you haven't, because they have to pump their own. The people in New Jersey not allowed to pump gas for some odd reason. So let's talk about what's coming up this Saturday as well, and we'll make our way back around another pay-per-view event. We've got pay-per-view events. It looks like 3 out of the 4 weeks we had Crown Jewel. This coming Saturday, we've got Full Gear from AEW. And then the following Saturday, I believe, is when we get to, am I not mistaken, or is it 2 weeks when we get to Survivor Series? I think it's 2 weeks.
No, but it's Saturday of Thanksgiving.
Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Wow. Saturday after Thanksgiving. Unbelievable. Saturday after Thanksgiving. The rosters will be shaken up. We are closing in on the Royal Rumble. Remember, in the PWR Fantasy Draft, rosters lock at the conclusion of the Royal Rumble. So I hope you guys are thinking ahead, because we've got the WWE live roster, or the live events for the first part of 2023, including Raw's 30th anniversary. Linda K. Raw making a 30th anniversary Monday, January 23rd at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia.
That's crazy. I'm just going to do a flashback
years.
here. Yeah, I know it was January of 93. I may have only missed the early days of those episodes just because I didn't have cable yet. But other than that, I've seen every episode, at least parts of, at least like throughout my college years. I had class, stuff like that, of Monday Night Raw. So I'm going to flash back to 2012, where myself, Dave, and Damien made our way to St. Louis for the Raw 1000. And that was in
Episode
2012.
1000. Wow.
Then I remember there was the Raw 25 in Brooklyn that I feel that we were at too. It all becomes a blur after a while, but I do remember that as well. And now it's the Raw 30. Insane.
Matthew Thomas, they are making their way all throughout the country. It looks like in the first part of the year. They may be making their way close to your area, but not officially announced for Denver yet. Here's some of the towns that they're going to be hitting. Looks like on Friday, January 13th, SmackDown at the Resch Center in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
That's not close to me.
No, it's not close to you. I miss Ken Kennedy, so I just wanted to say Green Bay, Wisconsin. They did win yesterday.
That was kind of LA Knight-ish too.
It was. There's a little bit of cadence in there, because if you think about it, Kenny does take a little cadence sometimes from The Rock, and LA Knight is a very rock-centric cadence as well. Yeah. Here's the other things I've noticed, that there is Saturday night's main events happening throughout the year as well. Now, will these be premium live events? I don't know. Why is that important? Because here at PWR Weekly, if it's on the Peacock, if it's a premium live event, those are point scoring events. A couple other things to note too, that there is, let's see, Elimination Chamber, Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec. The Elimination Chamber on Saturday, February 18th. There is also obviously the Road to WrestleMania tour. The SmackDown / Hall of Fame induction ceremony will be happening on Friday, March 31st at the Crypto.com Arena in LA. And Stand and Deliver on Saturday, April 1st in the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles as well.
Interesting.
I don't know if we have NXT talents on our rosters, or if we might end up getting some, who knows. But I believe that wasn't that day one-ish that turned into what did they call it? I think it's on a weekend too. The next NXT pay-per-view premium live event.
It was like number one, and they're working. Yeah, they're working their way towards it. So we'll get to that one next week when we start talking about NXT a little bit more. But let's go to some new news, technically from the world of NXT. Ladies and gentlemen, the NXT WWE Performance Center has their fall 2022 class. I want to hear your thoughts both on the fact that we've got 15 athletes ranging from All-American track and field stars pro football and volleyball players, and NCAA Division I gymnasts. Where's the wrestlers?
That's what NXT is now. I mean, that was really where we started going a few years ago. With that territory developing, I mean, becoming a true developmental territory, not a territory where a lot of these independent people are landing like in the first days of NXT. So I think we got to get used to this.
Yeah,
Linda Kate, your thoughts?
I think it's been made very clear on NXT. It's going that route. Let's keep it young. Let's recruit athletes, right out of college. Let's get our eyes on those individuals, right after they graduate, basically grabbing them before they can really pursue other things. Like, hey, this is an idea we have for you. Let's get you trained and get you into the eyes of the world there on NXT television. But yeah, I mean, like Matthew said, we've seen that for the past couple of years now. So the debate, whether ever bringing, other well-known independent talents or even talents like, just think about not too long ago where you had a lot of talents from TNA.
What about a kid that wears a fanny pack? How is he ever going to make it in to the Performance Center? Because he's not an NCAA athlete. He's a professional wrestler.
I mean, there's still some, things that can be adjusted. I mean, we don't know the whole landscape of it anyway, but it is interesting to point that out because it's like we have NXT that's bringing in a lot of athletes that, that just tremendous physicality, athleticism, and then they get trained to work on their performance, other things, acting, promos, etc. And then what we've been getting on the other side at AEW is a lot of the well-known independent stars that are getting their huge pops and their huge receptions from the audience there. So it's just an interesting thing to really compare between the two.
All right. Well, we'll have to see how that pans out because right now, I mean, if you're looking at it, and this is nothing against the people individually, but I take a Lash Legend, for example. Great athlete, great, premier athlete, not Tony Nese, but wrestling in the ring, meh, it's not working for me. Let's talk about Raw from the 7th. Matthew Thomas, you were gloating pre-show before we got on the air here about saying that Austin Theory would not cash in for the major title. Not only did he cash in for a U.S. title shot, he lost. Matthew.
Yeah, if you listened and watched this program 2 weeks ago, you would have heard my prognostication and my prediction that Austin Theory was not, in fact, cashing in for a major title. And that's what happened last week on Raw. That has been the news that the professional wrestling industry has been abuzz about. Why would somebody cash in on, a mid-card title? But if you would have kept up with your PWR Weekly, you would have known that was going to happen.
Linda Kate, are they trying to tell us that the U.S. title on Raw, because Roman's over on SmackDown with the World and Heavyweight, Universal, and all that other stuff, are they telling us the U.S. title is worth more, or that they're just trying to get rid of Austin Theory? I mean, really, what does the future hold? Excuse me, still shaking the cold off from those balloons. What does the future hold for Austin Theory when it comes to where does he go now? He couldn't even cash in on a prone face, apparently, Seth Rollins.
Yeah, that's a great point about elevating the United States Championship over there on Raw, because you have both heavyweight championships, as you just said, on SmackDown, and the Intercontinental Championship. So on the men's side, that does leave us the United States Championship, which we know it's full of prestige. Obviously, they've been really, informing us a little bit more about it, hyping it up a bit, putting it on the talents of just recently. Think of Bobby Lashley, of course, Seth Rollins, and now you have Theory wanting to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase, on that. While he did not succeed, that then brings to the point of possibly what I'm seeing is maybe just that storyline of the rebuild for him, going into Mania. I feel like this is something where he might get a chance at a title again. I don't know if it's going to be United States or not, but where it's going to go down that road. Not necessarily so distraught as, like said, a Baron Corbin before he became Happy Corbin.
Yeah.
But something where he's going to come back up. Kind of similar. I mean, that was more like a heel, kind of like come back. I'm going to think of more like maybe not as deep as like a Wes Lee situation on Raw, but where he's feeling like he's hit rock bottom and finds his way back up if they go the face route.
One more question for both of you. Does Austin Theory go to NXT and beat Braun Breaker? Linda.
I like that. I like that a lot. So
Is that where they build him? Matthew, thoughts?
He never had an NXT title run, did he?
No.
No. So I think that the sole purpose of having him lose the briefcase in the manner he did was to get people talking and to have these conversations happening here, to have these conversations happening, oh, he's being buried. What are they doing? So Triple H, they've already announced that, Hell in a Cell is no more going into next year. I would not be surprised at all if we don't see Money in the Bank cool off a little bit as well, too. I think that...
It's too bad because I liked Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I think that it's been overexposed in recent years. And, if nothing else, maybe not going away, but basically I think this was kind of them, telegraphing the fact that, hey, this is not always going to be a sure thing. And it's not always going to be even attempted to be cashed in on what you think it's going to be cashed in. So I think they're trying to kind of, reframe things a little bit. I think Theory's going to be fine. And I honestly think that people are talking about him more this week than they probably have in 3 or 4 months. So I think this is all part of a calculated effort, and he's going to be just fine.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about Raw, and then we'll move on here. I don't understand why I should think that Asuka, Alexa Bliss, and Bianca Belair are friends and they stick up. They've never explained to me why they're friends and what the issue is now with Nikki Cross joining Damage Control, but not joining Damage Control. Matthew?
They've done so many things right with stables here in the last 6 months. This is not one of them. This is kind of a stable that's materialized out of nowhere. I don't think they have a lot of great chemistry, and it's basically just felt like something that has materialized to take on Damage Control. And I'm hoping that we see it through War Games, and then these people can go in their own programs, because I think you've got a lot of singles talent there. Don't think they work as a stable.
Linda, have they ever explained to us why they're together? Why they're friends?
I don't believe so. Again, it's just it's got Bianca and Bailey as the leaders, and then you've got like the backup, if you will, to have go against the newly acquired, the newly presented Damage Control. And this has been going on ever since SummerSlam for the most part. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I do hope it finally, I thought it would kind of come to an end at Crown Jewel, but War Games, this makes sense. It's just squash it one more, get one more grudge match, if you will, and squash it. And yeah, I agree though. Too much singles talent there to kind of keep glued together at this point.
Absolutely. Let's move on to AEW Dynamite from Wednesday night. And really, it starts off hot. It's the Acclaimed, Yow, and FTR, who are announced as the AAA, IWGP, and Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. They hadn't been mentioning the IWGP, which is the New Japan Tag Team Championships. It's the is it the International Wrestling Grand Prix, I believe was what IWGP stands for. And AAA. Hey, by the way, the kid with the fanny pack down at AAA in Mexico, in Tijuana, wrestling for the first time. Matthew, Linda, did you guys see that video? That was loud. The noisemakers all throughout the match.
Yeah, I saw the videos and pictures. I was trying to keep up with both father and son there while they were down there at AAA, and it's so amazing to see what our pal Cal Hero and I was gonna say Papa Dave are just
the popcorn night.
Yes,
David Hero. Yeah,
just really experiencing rushing, and this is
it tough to get a fanny pack through customs?
I don't know. We're going to have Cal on to talk about it, because I also want to know if he's an adult now, has he gone to see the show? And you know what show I'm talking about, not the wrestling show, not AAA, that kind of show that you can see at Tijuana. Moving on. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite. It was an 8-man tag. It was the Acclaimed and FTR taking on Swerve in Our Glory and the Guns. Austin and Colton Gunn with Stokely Hathaway and W. Morrissey of the Firm. You know what? AEW, for all the things that we give them some hard times about, they start off shows hotter than hot. I mean, these are rock shows, and we saw it right here with this 8-man tag match.
Yeah, they always do a good job of kind of taking the pulse of, who's hot. I mean, when Adam Cole was having his big run. He started off a lot of shows. They seem to know what
They started
to
off with his music even, because it wasn't just they played his music, to get him in.
Yeah, they seem to know what to do to get an audience going.
Absolutely. All right, the winners of the match, the Acclaimed and FTR. The World Title Eliminator quarterfinal, the Mad King, Eddie Kingston, took on All Ego, Ethan Page. This is looking to be built for Ethan Page. This may be the time Ethan Page becomes a top-tier guy. Matthew, your thoughts on Ethan Page, and is he winning this tournament?
That would be nice to see. I mean, I think he is one of the, I think when I think of underutilized talents they need to feature, him and Ricky Stark are the two names that come to mind. So I hope this gets us another spotlight on Ethan Page.
Linda, if MJF wins the title and Ethan Page wins the tournament, is this perfect storytelling? Because then you got the firm against MJF.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you said it right there, but again, just getting more of that spotlight on Ethan Page. I mean, even here, just with the audience alone, you have him being really one of the current talents, getting more of the louder pops, like female side, Jamie Hayter, not to jump ahead, but maybe not as much noise and pomp and circumstance as what Jamie's getting from the audience.
Well, I think that's Jay Lethal that gets the pomp and circumstance.
Well, I like saying pomp and circumstance. Yes. But no, I think this is something to really help build Ethan Page.
Wardlow was throwing out an open challenge and he took on Ari Daivari, but the real story here is Ring of Honor TV champion Samoa Joe ambushes Wardlow at the end. Ward Joe is done, Linda.
Yeah, so it's Joe War.
Joe War, yeah, this is War Joe.
Yeah, so we kind of saw that coming the week before, though. But I mean,
it is kind of raised an eyebrow, yeah.
Yeah, but it is bringing some more light to some ROH shenanigans as well.
Again, this is half Dynamite, half AEW, half Ring of Honor. Matthew, Powerhouse Hobbs comes out and says he'll take on both of them. Are we getting a three-way at the pay-per-view?
I don't know. I'm just happy we don't have to say the phrase "Word Joe" anymore. You've got two of your.
Oh, it's going to be said more. Trust me.
Yeah, your bigger, your meatier AEW talents, and they give them a tag team nickname that, like you'd see on the cover of Us Weekly or something.
Speaking of pomp and circumstances, Matthew, Trent Beretta took on Jay Lethal with Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt. Remember, we've got JEFF, JARRETT, now leading a group with Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt. Where are we going with Jeff Jarrett? Good old slap nuts.
I don't know, but as much as I enjoy Jeff Jarrett, this feels like the most un-AEW thing AEW's ever done. When I'm watching, and maybe it's because we've seen Jarrett everywhere. Maybe it's because we have the association with WWF, TNA, Impact, WWE, everywhere.
Ric Flair's last match.
Yeah, but it seems off-brand for AEW. And what I want to spin this back around to is when we talk about just what I think is odd booking that doesn't work. Jay Lethal, I mean, for years was your top ROH guy. The way Jay Lethal has been presented in AEW, I don't feel like he's been presented like a star. And you've really attached this stable to him from the start. And now you're making the stable even bigger. I think Lethal, who could be one of your main stars in AEW, is getting lost in the shuffle.
Linda, they are going to be setting up a match. It looks like Sting and Darby Allin taking on Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
Yeah, this should be interesting. I was just going to say, this just kind of reminds me of kind of what we got in Nashville this summer. We put Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett together again. But I don't know. I want Sting and Darby to win, but if you're going to bring in Jeff Jarrett into this element and the way he's been brought in, I feel like that's just something where it's going to put him more on top. I don't know. I'm a little confused. I'll definitely watch it, of course. I definitely was something I want to see, but it's just interesting. It's something kind of quick coming along, unless you want to count like history between like Sting and Double J from years ago from other companies.
Yep. The world champion Jon Moxley comes out to the ring. He's got William Regal, and then they go to a promo with MJF on a radio station. Was it a radio station or podcast, whatever it was? But he cut the promo to the camera, Linda. It was different. It was unique. It's still weird to me.
Yeah, we saw this not too long ago with WWE. Just think about Logan Paul calling out Roman Reigns, having him on, and then it was like footage of the video cast, podcast, whatever. I mean, you think of like Pat McAfee and all that stuff too. This is a little different in that they had MJF literally talking to the camera, but it was
Yeah, cut it right in the
different
mic.
way.
So why wouldn't you do it? Yeah.
I mean, maybe they were trying to plug the podcast too.
Maybe. I mean, the podcast is going to get a rub there. Matthew, your thoughts on us working to the quote unquote, the devil MJF? He's a face. How is he the devil?
Since we had our issue with Punk and the Bucks and Omega in the press conference, our build and what we have done, I think, is really, I feel like AEW really hasn't gotten their footing underneath them. And the MJF thing, I think
he called it out. He said it right in a promo. He said, when I should have been the biggest story, we're talking about a backstage fight.
Yeah. And keep in mind, too, I mean, Moxley was supposed to be fishing, right? Moxley was supposed to be on his vacation. So, I mean, there's been a lot of course correcting here and there. And, my thing with AEW as they build to pay-per-views, and, one of their benefits is they haven't had the WWE monthly formula, so they're able to do a little bit more of expansive storytelling, from shows to shows. But, man, when we get in the couple of weeks leading up to a pay-per-view with AEW, it always feels rushed. And this is no exception. I feel like here in the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of matches finalized and kind of thrown together. And I don't like WWE's old formula of, the show after your last pay-per-view, what the next pay-per-view is going to be. And you've got 4 weeks of, can they coexist type of storytelling. I don't like that. But it also feels like AEW has all this time to really, really build and pay off angles. And I don't feel like we get that necessarily taken as advantage of as we possibly could. I feel like you still have a lot of stuff thrown together in the last couple of weeks, and this is no exception.
It does feel like 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag, but you know what I'm looking forward to? And they actually mentioned it now. I've heard Tony Time Excalibur, after running, down a card and saying everything that's listed off. I'm looking forward to the Rampage coming up this Friday night, right before AEW's Full Gear, because I want to hear Excalibur have to do it all in one breath, read off the entire card, because that dude literally will have like a 15-match card. And Tony will go 3 minutes, 4 seconds, still record. I cannot wait. Main event on Dynamite was Bryan Danielson taking on the Spanish God Sammy Guevara in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Bryan Danielson with the win, looking strong. You know what? Great match, great wrestling match, but I don't think it advances a ton of story, Matthew.
No, I mean, it was exactly what you were hoping for here. And it was a good wrestling match to see here. It's interesting watching kind of where Danielson's going to land. I mean, I was hoping there would be another major title run with Danielson in AEW, and that's not necessarily the role that I'm seeing. And I wonder if any of that shifts because of the situation with Punk. I would like to see Danielson on top one more time, as the face of a company. And I think there's a lot to that, but I mean, maybe we'll see that kind of once MJF lands where he's going to land. But yeah, it's interesting to kind of see the booking of Danielson. I mean, what are we, about 14 or 15 months removed from the Danielson from the Punk get. And it's kind of interesting to kind of watch where we have, landed at this point.
All right, let's transition into Friday Night SmackDown. And the show opened with one of my favorite matches in a very long time. It was for really the bragging rights. So who's the best tag team in WWE of all time? If the Usos can defend their belts against the New Day, they will become the longest reigning WWE tag team champions of all time. What an amazing match. Lots of false finishes. The winners still champions. And come this tonight, actually, they will be the longest reigning tag team champions of all time. Matthew, your thoughts on the Usos retaining?
A really great job of what they've done with the Usos in this run. I mean,
have they caught up to Roman as far as being the...
Yeah, no, we've had Usos on top for a while, but this run with Usos and Roman, it feels different. And I think they really, really make a case for a lot longer reigns than we see, traditionally in the modern era. Question I want to propose to both of you, though, and, it's been talked about for years. Most people kind of land on the fact that, no, it never needs to happen, kind of like a Cena heel turn. But things are a little bit different on the New Day front now. Big E, for right now, is not in the picture. Is it time to break Xavier and Cody up?
Cody.
I mean, Kofi. I'm sorry.
He got like 3 of the letters right. Linda, I'll let you answer first.
Yeah, I really didn't think too much about that quite yet. I'm a huge fan of the New Day. You guys know that. I didn't
They rock.
think. Oh, absolutely. Did I think they were gonna defeat the Usos for this longest reigning tag team ever? I didn't think so. Just because of everything going on with the Bloodline, I just don't see those titles going off the Usos in quite a while. Still, there was that little bit of hope for a lot of New Day fans. I wasn't sure. I felt okay. I felt Usos were going to retain, but just watching that match, I was cheering for both. It was awesome. I guess to answer your question, Matthew, we don't know yet when Big E would be returning, right? I don't know if Rumble is in the time frame. I'm not sure.
Don't know.
But as far as splitting up Kofi and Xavier, maybe. But I feel that now that you bring back the new vicious Viking Raiders, if that's like what they're being called, I think that that's going to be something where they're going to need some key strong tag teams to face them in this return. I don't want New Day losing to them like they did before, but
because when I look at the story, we had Kofi Mania, we've had the spotlight on Big E. If there's anybody,
we've had King Woods.
Yeah, we had King Woods, but that's not a world title run. If we somebody who has potentially maybe a little bit been overshadowed, it's Woods. And I want to know more. Like, I want to see a little bit more of the spotlight on him. And, Kofi got his story with the title. Big E got his story with the title. King Woods was still, in a large sense, in that New Day gimmick. It was kind of, he had his crown. It was kind of that comedy.
He went against the Bloodline.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see Xavier with his own thing.
Okay. All right. I don't know that they would break them up. I would think that they would keep them separate but together. The New Day want to stay together. Those guys want to work with each other. Let's talk a couple hits from SmackDown. There is a World Cup going on in SmackDown for a #1 title shot against the Intercontinental Champion. Love it. It's perfect. Perfect synergy. This seems like old WWE, but it's still new WWE. Santos Escobar defeats Shinsuke Nakamura to advance from the first round of the SmackDown World Cup. Also, very interesting. Yeah. LA Knight talking in the background, and the screen starts to flicker, and Bray Wyatt interrupts. Could you have seen this pairing coming up before, Matthew? I never saw LA Knight and Bray Wyatt being on the screen at the same time.
I never thought about it, but I loved it. And that's the potential rumor that's being thrown out for Survivor Series, is we actually get this as Bray Wyatt's first match back. And I absolutely love it because LA Knight can certainly hold his own against Bray Wyatt.
On the microphone.
Yes, absolutely. And this elevates both people because, it puts LA Knight in the ring with Bray Wyatt, but it also gives us something really, really intriguing for Bray Wyatt as well, too, in this pairing that we really haven't seen. So this was probably what I was most pleasantly surprised about from SmackDown.
Linda, your thoughts on, LA Knight taking on Bray Wyatt?
I think that would be huge for him. To any newer fans of the E, they may not know about the many years LA Knight, Eli Drake, has put into the business, as well as his time.
Former Impact World Champion.
Yes. And as well as his time on NXT. So they mainly know him as the leader of Maximum Male Models, where you don't even see him in ring at all, and really not getting to say much other than introducing a new fashion line. So I think this would be huge for him as well. Get a lot of eyes on him, put on this tremendous match with the Fiend. My goodness. Maybe. I don't know. There's been the weird flickering and stuff. But with Bray Wyatt's huge return. It's just interesting, though, because LA Knight, I think, came off more as a face once he turned his back on Maximum Male Models. But now if he's facing Bray Wyatt, is he more of a heel, or is it just not even
I don't know if it's an issue.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I throw this out there, one thing that was rumored with the whole Wyatt 6 thing was there's 6 different variations of Bray Wyatt's personality. My goodness, can we at least get a Bray Wyatt that is a Maximum Male Model?
Have him come out to the fall tennis line. Oh.
Is that not money?
World Cup, like soccer attire. It's World Cup season.
Oh my God, I could wear a brand new kit. There we go. Let's talk more about the World Cup on SmackDown. As Jeff Jarrett calls him, a pretend monster in skinny jeans. Not the case at all, because we've stood toe to toe with Braun Strowman. That dude's a beast. He's a monster among monsters. He defeats Jinder Mahal. Linda.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting to hear him.
It was weird that Jarrett said it because it's not true, right?
Yeah, and just random. But no, I mean, as you know, Team Longtime did acquire Braun Strowman very recently in the past pay-per-view, their Crown Jewel. So excited to see he's still, strong monster among monsters there.
That's right. Hey, the returning Sarah Logan looking good. I love the character, and her and the Viking Raiders return to enact carnage. Hit row and the Gato del Fantasma. Your thoughts on Sarah Logan returning?
Me?
Yeah, you. Yep.
No, that's great. As we know, we have seen her in those vignettes the past couple weeks. That new look is awesome to see, and it does just looks perfect and more as a whole all together with the new Viking. I don't think
the whole package is great. Yeah, I think the whole thing works.
Yeah.
Matthew, your thoughts on returning Sarah Logan? We know that she's married to one of them. I don't remember which one it is, but
yeah. So I think that she could potentially be a major threat in the women's division. You know, we had our 6-pack challenge for who's going to face Ronda, and it really kind of dawned on me. Other than Ronda's reign, the women's division doesn't seem to be getting much of a spotlight on SmackDown, and not just the presentation. When you were watching that match, there were not many people in there that you said, okay, this is going to make a super intriguing program with Ronda. So I think they need to, build some bigger threats. But let's talk about this. I mean, you really step back. We are in the WWE women's division right now without Becky, without Sasha, without Charlotte. And I think that
and Naomi,
you're starting to feel that a little bit.
Yeah. The final, basically, it was the Bloodline coming out to talk and really setting up war games. So you've got Solo, you've got the Usos, you've got Roman, and they start to go at it with the Brawling Brutes and a returning Sheamus. Well, that still makes it 3-on-4. So here comes Drew McIntyre, Matthew Thomas. We're heading to war games. It's going to be the Brawling Brutes, including Drew McIntyre, against the Bloodline.
Yeah, it feels big, and I think
not official yet, but I mean, come on, it's the right there.
There's a lot of focus on this because for years, unfortunately, Survivor Series has been more or less bragging rights, and now, there's not as many, at least on the SmackDown side, not as much on the line as far as stakes go, with titles and whatnot. But I think people are getting ready to give it a chance because this is something different. So I think this will be fun.
Let's talk Rampage from Friday night as well. Right after SmackDown, we go right to Rampage. We had a great match for the All-Atlantic Championship. It first started off with, let me get back to my page here because my notes had disappeared. Let me get back there. It was the Americans. I like that they're doing this, by the way. For the All-Atlantic Championship, they're going to put the flag next to whoever's competing. So both Americans, Big Shotty, Lee Johnson, taking on Orange Cassidy for the All-Atlantic Championship.
Yeah. I mean, this is a unique title. Ever since it debuted this year, it's great seeing a fan favorite, Orange Cassidy.
I absolutely loved when he pulled out the microphone. All right, there's been enough talk. It's that when Mark goes, whoa. He had his own orange flag on there too. It was time to talk. Absolutely tremendous. Matthew, your thoughts on Orange and Big Shotty Lee Johnson?
Just happy to see, traditional East Pack backpacks make a comeback, with a nice little leather bottom. That's
little
what
East Bay backpacks. That's
right. Yeah. What I had, most of my middle school careur. I think it was that exact one. He may have actually, been in talks with my mother to actually get my backpack. Your
mother's just trying to comfort him with some soothing sounds. That's really all it is. There was 2 world title eliminator tournament matches. Bandito and Roosh. Bandito with a win over Roosh, and Brian Cage over Dante Martin. Also, we saw Nyla Rose, the self-proclaimed TBS champion, open challenge. She's got Marina Shafir with her, and Jungle Boy, Christian Cage, and Luchasaurus coming face to face. Overall, I thought it was a solid Rampage. Matthew, your thoughts?
Yeah, like always, we get a lot of business done here.
Way
and
too much, but
up to a pay-per-view, you're going to have a lot of additional business.
let's get to the big business of this Saturday. It's Full Gear, Saturday, November 19th, and I am not Excalibur, folks. I cannot run down all the matches. I do know that we've got Jon Moxley and MJF for the AEW World Championship. Matthew, your thoughts on that match and predict a winner?
It's potential history here. I mean, it's potential passing of a torch. I mean, MJF has been the future of the industry for several years now. He's been on the tip of everybody's tongue. I think you need to pull the trigger right now. I mean, as great of a mainstay as Moxley has been for AEW, he was
supposed to be fishing.
Yeah, he was supposed to be fishing. He's put that company on his back, but I think AEW needs something a little bit fresh right now, and AEW needs something to really, signify who they are as a company. We're kind of referencing the Jarrett thing a little bit earlier. The Jarrett thing, the ROH thing, AEW, I think might be having a little bit of a struggle right now with who they are as a brand and who AEW is. And I think you really have
all the ROH stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, a specific instance now to say, all right, MJF is our guy. This is the guy we want you to think of when you associate a major star with the company. I think this is where you pull the trigger.
All right, Linda K, Moxley and MJF. Thoughts?
Well, Matthew, when you say pull the trigger, do you mean the V? Trigger,
hey now, Linda K.
Some promos, perhaps the elite, maybe super elite. I'm not even sure anymore. Make some type of return. That's sure been hinting that way. But this is why I agree with you guys. Maybe this is a little passing the torch there. That MJF basking his glory, no pun intended. But then the music hits and there's another feud that can take place right then and there, or start right there.
Well, he's going to have to fly in from North Carolina.
Exactly.
But Linda, you make a really good point. Whether that means MJF with a title or not, that promo in the radio station with MJF, it was how he's always being overshadowed, how that moment's always being overshadowed. So I think you potentially have a really, really good story there if you do go that route.
And, Linda, you brought up a great point as well. The Acclaimed, Anthony Bowens and Max Caster, taking on Swerve in Our Glory, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. This is the third match in their trilogy for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Linda, your thoughts. Does Swerve in Our Glory get the belts back? Or do the Acclaimed actually, I almost said retain? Yeah.
I think the Acclaimed will continue scissoring in celebration.
Wow.
And this is finally where we get Swerve and Keith disbanding and having their own feud.
Okay. All right. Let's touch on a couple other matches that we've got so far. We do have Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter in a singles match for the interim AEW Women's Championship. We've also got Jericho, Danielson, Claudio, and Sammy, a four-way for the Ring of Honor Championship. Jarrett and Jay Lethal against Sting and Darby Allin in a tag team match. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Saraya. That's a very heated rivalry there. Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose for the AEW TBS Championship. Maybe she'll actually get her belt. And Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy in a steel cage. Linda, what are you looking forward to out of all of those?
Oh, man.
That's probably not even all of them. There's probably like 17 more matches.
I was gonna say I hope there's a Samoa Joe and
Joe and Wardlow
and and something. Not just because Wardlow's on Team Long Time, but that's just something that's brewed that I feel that something should be happening there at Full Gear. Man, that's a lot of matches. But what really caught my eye, just because it was so fresh and just based off their confrontation last week, was Saraya and Britt Baker. Seeing that huge in-ring return for Saraya.
Matthew, out of the rest of the matches that I mentioned, what are you looking forward to?
So there's a lot of talk about how they're booking ROH, but running down that list, I think next week on this program, you may be hearing, well, maybe not us, but people in the wrestling community talking about that match for the ROH title as being one of the greatest matches they've ever seen. Look at the talent in that match. You have got, basically first ballot Hall of Famers all, aligned there with some stakes on the line. I think that is the one.
Omaha stakes?
Yes. That's the one to keep your eye on right there. Not just for this card, but for, potentially short list of best matches you've seen in a long time.
Prediction for you guys before we wrap up the show. Will there be a post-show media scrum? Matt?
Absolutely not.
Really? I say yes.
I say yes, and will it be under control this time? Because I don't think that Tony's going to let things get out of hand like it did before. And then finally, one last prediction. Linda, you kind of prefaced it earlier. Let's say it again. The Bucks, Kenny Omega, are they back?
I do believe so. Yes, sir.
Matthew?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. Well, I can definitely see the AEW pay-per-view on my traditional cable provider or on Fight TV or on Bleacher Report in the U.S. and Canada and internationally, obviously on Fight TV.
Are you looking at theaters again? Or
it may be, but I don't know if they're calling them blast zones or, dynamite zones or AEW zones or, touchdowns. I mean, I don't know what they're calling them, but they probably have theaters as well. And they're always United Artists theaters. Why can't we get it at a Marcus theater in my area? So that way, I can get it cheaper and get popcorn and pretzel nuggets. So I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I want.
Well, you can sneak in popcorn from Knight's Popcorn.
You could sneak in nice popcorn.
Oh, wait, unless you're bringing there's the big 5-foot bags, you guys. Literally my size. I don't know.
Here's
that one in.
Dude, you need to sneak in Knight's Popcorn in a fanny pack.
Oh.
That's one handful. I mean, I don't know what size fanny pack you're wearing, pal. Speaking of fanny pack, let's segue into Blizzard Brawl 2022. It's going to be happening Saturday, December 3rd at the Waukesha County Expo Center. Matthew, show us your Waukesha t-shirt that you got on there.
I purchased this last year.
I can't see it.
Yeah, put it up on the glass. There you go, Waukesha.
Home
nice.
of Blizzard Brawl. Okay, yeah.
Home of Blizzard Brawl. So, Linda, I know you're involved in the show. Matthew, you're working on getting there. I will be there as well. The Popcorn Night, David Hero. I believe the newest Rockers will be there as well. I don't know what their match is, but so many great matches. Head on over to blizzardbrawl.com for info. I know First Row is sold out. I know that a bunch of the other roles are sold out. There's already up to SRO, standing room only. I don't know where the Meathead's going to sit. He might have to find some family and friends section in the back. I mean, basically sit behind the curtain to be able to see the show. But get in where you fit in. This is going to be one hell of a show, and you don't want to miss it.
It will sell out. It always does.
It will sell out. It's a packed house. For Linda Kay, for Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call Meathead. Thanks for stopping by. We will talk to you guys next week, Monday, with all the Full Gear results and so much more. So long, everyone.